The Lakers have announced a sale, or they've announced that they're close to it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's official. But it's to one of their minority owners who already owns 20% of the team or something like that, and now they're the valuation that he is purchasing a majority of the team would have the team worth $10 billion right now. I think he's like paying an extra 4.8 now, or he paid 4.8 whatever it is. That's what all the buzz is, that the Lakers are worth $10 billion, which kind of makes you think that's where you start the conversation if you wanted to sell the Cowboys.
That's what I've always thought.
But
10.
I'm thinking it's going to be more, though.
Right, you start at 10. The Cowboys, I think, could sell for $20 billion.
However, now I saw this put out there by like an ESPN reporter. And I also saw this when the Mavs were sold, put out there by reporters. But maybe they've followed this one a little closer because of the Mavs thing. It says here, guaranteed as part of the agreement that Jeanie Buss will remain in charge for the foreseeable future. Mark Walter is the guy that's buying it, has fully endorsed this plan. So, like, she'll remain to run the team, like as far as the personnel and hiring and firing the GM and all that kind of stuff. But she's just getting a cash grab.
You know, it's funny. I think it's like being a Supreme Court case or something. The fact that the Luka trade happened and every single element of it was so effed up, and this specifically we're talking about Cuban's sale and the lack of clarity on what his level of autonomy was going to be, all the way to just trading Luka himself. This whole thing is just going to be used as a case study in sports business of how to not screw things up. So every single time somebody sells a team now, if they want to have like some level of control over it, they're going to say, we probably need to talk about that. Like, how's this actually going to work? And then there'll be new conversations about it. That's probably how the Celtics agreement, was made sure that they crossed the T's and dotted the I's. The Mavericks screwed up so bad, they just taught everyone else how to do business. Jeanie Buss is going to ask different questions because Mark Cuban experienced what he did.
Didn't Cuban, though, later kind of indicate actually the NBA nixed the language that we wanted in there?
Listen, he's had a lot to say about it. He had a lot to say about it at the time, and then some different things to say about it over time. But I remain absolutely convinced that if he wanted to ensure that he was going to remain in control of personnel, there's a mechanism by which he could have done that. So maybe they told him it can't be in this deal, okay? And then they said, well, you have to sign a contract. Well, if at that point he said, well, I don't want to do that, okay, well, then you're no longer in charge of the team. But they should tell you that, and if you make that decision, then that's it.
Because when they announced it, it was, I'm in charge of the team, and I will be. And we were all like, oh, okay, cool. Who cares?
So now every time, when Jeanie Buss or whoever says that, the anonymous source who gave comment to The Athletic just straight up said, this cannot be Mark Cuban. She will continue to run the team for a significant number of years.
Oh, wow, they even said that.
Yeah.
Well, something else that made me think that Cuban did have that was the fact that those in the know said, because like I said, this guy who just bought the Lakers, he gave like $4.8 billion, but that means whatever percent he bought, the value of the Lakers is $10 billion. Whereas when Cuban sold whatever percent, they said the value that he sold, like the valuation was extremely below market value. Do you recall that? Like this?
Yeah.
This is, they like the market value he sold it at was like $2 billion or something. It was just below market what many were saying the Mavs should be able to get.
There's a couple
especially
different theories.
With a superstar like Luka.
Yeah, there's a couple different theories on that. One is that it was part of him, like it was a bargaining chip for him to stay on.
That's what I'm saying.
But also
that if I get to remain in charge, that's why I'm charging you less.
But also they didn't really have a market because he was only selling it to them, which is naturally going to deflate your price. Like,
well, I don't know that the Lakers opened up the bidding.
I don't know. All I know is the Mavericks didn't. Usually there's some level of like, oh, we got multiple people trying to get in on this. But the Mavericks didn't have that at all.
No, but I don't. Again, was there any?
I don't know.
We don't know behind the scenes what was going on with the Lakers, but this guy already was.
No,
had a
but
little
listen,
piece.
what I'm saying is, out of all these sales that are happening, Commanders, Celtics, the Broncos, the Mavericks seem suspiciously low. So, as you're saying, I think it's two things. One, they didn't really have a market, and we're speculating, but you think that Cuban might want to stay on board. But in all those other cases, almost all of them, somebody's still staying on board, and they still got a ton of money. I think he just lost the deal, folks.
Which is really weird. He's like our business leader, you know? I mean, he teaches about valuation on Shark Tank. He's like, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. That seems weird.
You know what? That's actually the essence of his business advice.
Make sure you do this, make
Make
sure you do that.